We've selected the best PC games on the market right now for you to peruse. Sure, not every game on our list will be your ideal choice, but rest assured that there is something for everyone. Take a look and see if any of our best PC games match your requirements. But before we begin, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel to receive more content like this one. Number 10 on our list, it's Red Dead Redemption 2. Rockstar Games' latest release was an instant success upon initial release. Red Dead Redemption 2 is an engrossing western that follows Arthur Morgan and his gang as they try to survive as outlaws on the run in a fictionalized Wild West. The game, however, is much more than that. Whether it's getting lost in the story, completing every side quest, or simply bonding with your horse, RDR2 is one of those games that you can easily spend 50+ hours in and still have something to do. The gameplay is fantastic, and the graphics are stunning. If you have the necessary hardware, you can even play the game in 8K resolution. If you haven't already, take a look at this. Number 9. Microsoft Flight Simulator. It won't take you long to realize that Microsoft Flight Simulator is a labor of love, beyond its impeccable graphics and excellent peripheral support. There's a lot of detail here, as well as a level of realism and immersion that you won't find anywhere else. So much so that even if you're not a fan of flight simulations, you'll want to jump on board. That also means that this game isn't for everyone. Still, if you enjoy flight simulators or planes and flying, you'll enjoy the opportunity to fly iconic vehicles in some of the world's most beautiful yet dangerous locations and conditions. If you think this game is exactly what you're looking for, we can't recommend it enough. It's easily one of the best simulation games ever made, and it's a promising glimpse into the future of games across all genres. Number 8. Hitman 3. Hitman 3 concludes the rebooted trilogy with another stunning entry that demonstrates what makes these games so unique. It doesn't reinvent the gameplay, but it does add 6 new maps and completes the story that began with Hitman in 2016. The maps in Hitman 3 will take you all over the world, including Dubai, England, and China. You're in for a treat if you're not familiar with Hitman's gameplay. As Agent 47, you play a cool and calculated hitman whose job it is to move around large maps like an English manor, quietly and undetected, finding and eliminating targets. Furthermore, you can replay the same map multiple times to find new ways or new story paths to take out your targets, giving this entry, along with the previous ones, a level of replayability that is uncommon in video games. Hitman 3 concludes this trilogy of excellent games, with some all-time classic levels and a thrilling storyline. While some of these missions aren't as immediately replayable as Sapienza or Miami from previous entries, they do provide ample evidence that Agent 47 is truly at the top of his game. Number 7. Deathloop. If you've ever wondered what Groundhog Day would look like in video game form, look no further. Deathloop, from the creators of the Dishonored series, adds a fun little twist to the first-person shooter with some added strategy. In this stylish game, you play Colt, who is trapped in a time loop on an island with a rival assassin. To break the cycle, you must kill 8 targets before the day ends, otherwise, you must restart. As each day passes, you'll learn what works and what doesn't, changing playstyles and learning the terrain until you find the best way to break the loop. This isn't a game that plays itself, and it genuinely responds to your approach as a player in interesting ways, which means the potential rewards are enormous, even if mastering it may take some time. Colt may be tired of repeating the same day, but you'll have plenty of reasons to look forward to waking up in the morning. Number 6. God of War. The God of War series has been running since 2005, and even though the series has had many entries over the years, the one from 2018 has reinvigorated it, whether it's due to a new setting, you're no longer exploring some hellscape version of Greece, or the fact that Kratos now has a companion on his journey. In this former PlayStation exclusive, you play as Kratos, the demigod who has defeated nearly the entire Greek pantheon in previous games, as he and his son travel to the top of the mountain to scatter his late wife's ashes in a Norse-inspired mythological setting. Of course, as a God of War game, you'll have to fight your way through various creatures and gods along the way. Number 5. Dying Light 2. The Dying Light series has managed to keep things fresh with its parkour-style gameplay and day-night cycle, in which the zombies go from slow and lumbering to extremely aggressive and much more dangerous. In Dying Light 2, you will not only be able to explore a map 4 times larger than in the original game, but you will also be able to make decisions that will fundamentally change the in-game world. Depending on what you do, this even unlocks certain sections of the map. And, as with the original Dying Light, Coop Play allows you to play with up to 3 other people. With Dying Light 2, Stay Human, Techland appears to be attempting to create the greatest, or at least most complete, zombie game ever. Deep RPG mechanics, sumptuous melee combat and parkour, a day-night cycle that influences gameplay, a complex, branching storyline, and a paraglider make this the zombie game with everything. The fact that everything comes together so well is nothing short of miraculous. Number 4. Ghostrunner. This FPP is not for the faint of heart. It's tense and exhilarating, and you'll most likely die several times while attempting to beat it. Ghostrunner is the game for you if you want a game that is equal parts Doom Eternal and Mirror's Edge. The game takes place in Dharma Tower, a sort of the last refuge for humanity, where you must ascend through platforming and katana-induced carnage to exact revenge on a ruthless ruler. You do so by slicing up your enemies, dodging bullets, and employing a variety of unique abilities to advance to the top. This is the type of game that will exhaust you just by playing it. If that sounds like your type of game, you're in for a real treat. Number 3. Tiny Tina's Wonderlands. Tiny Tina's Wonderlands appears to be a bouncy fantasy comedy, but it plays like a Borderlands game. Borderlands 3, in particular. Some guns fire crossbow bolts, and grenades have been replaced by spells, but at the moment, it's a typical Borderlands game. You shoot hordes of bad guys who repeat pithy one-liners, then compare loot to see if the new guns and shields are better than the old ones, then repeat. While other looter shooters add crafting systems or try to make you care about gear levels, repeatable activities, and collecting 15 different kinds of shards, Tiny Tina's Wonderlands is just another game of shooting bad guys with ridiculous guns so you can take even more ridiculous guns off their corpses. And now and then, it throws in a joke about how bad the average D&D game is, which hits me like a knife in the heart. Number 2. The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt is aging gracefully. Even after several years, it remains one of the most impressive open-world games ever created, combining Skyrim's unapologetic scale with Grand Theft Auto V's incredible depth. Because it's such a packed game, it's still near the top of the best PC games in 2022. The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt isn't just one of the best PC games of 2022 or one of the best open-world games on PC. It's stunning, beautiful, and an absolute time sink in a good way. It could be one of the best video games ever made. Finally, number 1. Elden Ring. For good reason, Elden Ring is all anyone can talk about these days. From Software's latest punishment simulator has all the familiar Souls-like touchstones, but it's expanded out into an open world with a story, crafted by Game of Thrones author George R.R. Martin, so you know it's not going to pull any punches. The PC version of the game has experienced some performance issues, which From Software is working to resolve. Despite these flaws, it is unquestionably one of the best games, if not the best, that the studio has ever released. We've been devoted fans of From Software's work since the original Demon's Souls on the PS3, and we don't say that lightly. But, like the Souls-like genre itself, you have to earn it, and From Software unquestionably does with Elden Ring. Elden Ring represents From Software at its most carefree, gleefully tossing out every idea it can think of to entice players through the lands between. Its predecessor's tight framework is abandoned in favor of a more sprawling, overwhelming open world. Only time will tell if it has the same impact on players as the previous efforts, but it is an obscenely compelling adventure for those who enjoy a challenge. This concludes our list for today. Please leave your personal favorites in the comments section, subscribe for more content like this, and don't forget to like this one.